students make the mistake of studying the same way for all their subjects, when in fact, you need to use different study techniques for different subjects if you want to excel in all your classes. Hi, I'm Sarah Rab, and I'm a study expert who has helped thousands of students get the best grades of their entire lives with the least amount of time studying. Today, I'm going to teach you the best way to study for every subject. Starting with math. This is a purely application-based subject. What I mean by that is to excel, you need to learn how to apply formulas and problem solve. So I would not waste time writing long, detailed notes. Instead, the best way to memorize formulas and better yet, learn how to apply them is to do practice questions. Start with drills in your textbook where they just ask you to plug in numbers into the formula, and then move on to extended response questions where they might get you to twist the formula or change it around a little bit and it's not quite clear cut. You have to do some analytical thinking. And then finally, move on to practice exam questions, which are usually full-page questions, and they present to you a real-world problem that you need to use information from not only one chapter but a bunch of chapters and maybe even previous years to solve. Chemistry and physics are mostly application-based subjects but do require you to learn a little bit of theory. So for these subjects, what I would recommend is after every class or at the end of a topic, draw a mind map of all the information or theory that you need to know. This may include formulas, or it might include rules that you need to keep in mind when you're doing a skill like balancing chemical equations, or organic chemistry pathways, or any little bits of information and theory that might pop up on the exam. Then I would put your knowledge into practice by doing application. Similar to math, start off easy with questions in your textbook and then work your way up to exam questions. For subjects like biology, psychology, anatomy, and so on, you need to rote learn or memorize a ton of content. So to do this, I would use flashcards, which is a form of active recall. I've done a video on everything that you need to know on using flashcards, which I will link into the description below. But what I would recommend is every night when you get home from school and you've had one of those classes that day, convert your PowerPoint slides into flashcards, and then whatever time you have left, practice those flashcards or flashcards from previous sessions to learn the content. Now, the next important thing that you need to know is that rote learning the content or memorizing the content is only half of the battle. The other half, being able to then apply that knowledge. You'll notice that even though this is a content-heavy subject, the thing that every subject has in common is that you need to know how to apply it. And so to do this, what I would recommend is do a bunch of practice exam questions as well. And the way you can work this into your schedule is during the week after class, convert those PowerPoint slides into flashcards. And then if you have time on the weekend, do practice exam questions to learn how to apply your knowledge and answer exam questions the way that examiners want you to. Be able to twist the information to apply it to real world problems rather than just having this superficial level of understanding or, rote learning. For the humanities, so that's history, geography, economics, law, business, accounting, and so on, use SQ3R to learn from the textbook or any other resource you've been given, such as a reading or an article or a case study. I've done a video on this method in depth, which I again will link in the description below. But in brief, this is a reading comprehension method, the letters of which stand for survey, question, read, recite, review, that helps you get the most out of any resource that you read through. And in brief, what you have to do is before you even start reading the text, you come up with a list of questions that you want to know the answers to at the end of the text. So essentially what you want to get out of the text when you read it. And then as you read through the text, you then answer those questions. And the reason why it's so effective is that when you're actually searching for answers rather than just reading through something, when you're searching for answers, you are more actively engaged in your reading. But once you have learnt from your textbook or a resource, you then need to know how to apply the information. Surprise, bet you didn't see that one coming. So for history and geography, this might look like a source analysis, right? Have a look at a source from the time or like a map or a diagram and have a go at analyzing it. What does it tell you about what you already know? Does it support what you already know? How strong is the source? What's the context? And so on and so forth. Whereas for, accounting or business or law, try to look at some real world examples. So for example, a spreadsheet in accounting and try and fill it out yourself, or a case study in law and see what you can extract from that and answer some questions about that or write a response about it. Finally, English. Start by improving your vocabulary by wider reading or using an app that teaches you a new word each day. I find those always so much fun. If you're reading a text for English, the best way to make the most out of it is, before you even start reading, create a Word document and have each page dedicated to a theme or a character. Then, as you read through the book, add quotes, examples, or literary techniques that you think are relevant to each theme or character. So by the end of it, you have a full document of quotes and examples that you can then use in your text responses. And then, by far the most important skill that you need to have for English is being able to write. Do as much practice as you can. Depending on what you're learning in class, this might be a text response, it might be a text analysis, it might be persuasive writing, creative writing, whatever it is, write as many practice essays as you can. Now, if you don't have time to do an essay, you could just do a plan of what your body paragraphs would be, what examples you would use, and what those examples mean or how they contribute to the main idea. Or you could even try writing a body paragraph, just one body paragraph. If you really, really don't want to write, but I highly recommend that you do, but if you've burnt out and you've wrote a ton of essays already, what you can do is you can read other people's essays. There's a lot of essays that you can access online, especially if you're doing really common themes or texts like Romeo and Juliet or Macbeth. Read other people's essays and have a look as you read through them. Make note of the way that they write or, sentence structures that they use that you think are really powerful and that you would like to use in your own writing, or any strong ideas or themes that they write about that you think would be helpful in your writing. Now, the key thing here is that you do not copy them word for word, but you take what they have and try and change it into your own idea and put your own twist on it. Now, overall, with all the subjects and the study methods that I mentioned, you need to make sure that you are getting feedback on your work. Now, if you're doing practice questions, this might just be looking at the solutions and making sure that you got it right. But don't just look at the final number or the final answer. Look at the working out. Look at the whole paragraph, all the keywords, and make sure that you have all elements of the question correct. For your practice essays, make sure that you are either sending them to a teacher to read and get feedback from, or if not a teacher, even one of your friends who's good at English, a tutor, or even like an online AI sort of site that can give you feedback and tips to improve. If you struggle with a question, please make sure that you ask your teacher or a tutor how to do it so that you can then learn how to do it. And once you have an understanding of how to do that question, try to attempt similar questions so that you can really consolidate the skill and make sure that you know it well. It's even worth putting that question aside and coming back 2 weeks later to do the same question to make sure that you do actually remember how to do it. And so those are the most effective ways to study for various subjects. If you guys found this useful and you want to take your learning further, I have created a productivity and study skills masterclass just for you. It's a 10-part course that teaches you everything that you need to know about studying, about time management, about how to live your best life and transform into a productive, efficient academic weapon. The link is in the description below. I highly recommend that you check it out because it's the sort of stuff that you just don't learn in school, but will set you up for success throughout your entire life. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.